I'm James Lynch, and this is my stock report for UFC Baku, also known as UFC on ABC 8. Taking a look at the biggest winners and losers from the event. This was an easy one for biggest stock riser on this card. Khalil Rountree Jr. getting a dominant decision victory over Jamahal Hill. Looked great. I had him winning every round. Didn't look out of sorts whatsoever. And if you look at the stats, it sort of backs us up a little bit. Look at this: 102 significant strikes compared to just 69 for Jamahal Hill. Didn't even need a takedown or anything. A lot of leg kicks here. 30 of 36. So that really helped out. And you look at all the rounds, especially that fifth round. 37 strikes in that fifth round. This was an absolute beatdown from Khalil Rountree. When Khalil Rountree's on, when he looks like his best, like we saw in the Pereira fight, and we saw in other performances that he's had, like Modestas Bukauskas, he is a very dangerous guy and a contender in this weight class. And that was on display in this main event. Looked really good in this one. And a nice bounce back from that loss to Alex Pereira in a fight where he was looking very good early on in that fight. So Khalil Rountree, big win from there. Yuri Prochazka, I know, tweeted him after. I wouldn't mind a Yuri and Khalil Rountree fight. That would be fun. But there's a lot of good options here for Khalil. I wouldn't mind him and Carlos Ulberg. Like, there's a lot of interesting options here for Khalil Rountree for his next fight. But this was a dominant statement win in the light heavyweight division. Khalil Rountree, biggest stock riser on this card. Okay, second biggest stock riser, kind of an easy one here too. Rafael Fiziev. Now, obviously, getting the hometown, reception here doesn't hurt either. Obviously, the crowd was on his side, but I never understood why he was an underdog here, for the simple fact that you look at his losses. There's some pretty good guys in the weight class, including Gaethje in his last fight, which was on short notice here. But again, similar story. Very good performance on his end. If we look at the stats. A couple, takedowns thrown in, which was great. So if you look at it there, did outland him 62-50, and then 4 for 4 in takedowns. That was the difference in this fight here. Really like this performance from Fiziev. He's sort of back in the driver's seat now, as far as, I wouldn't say back in the driver's seat, because I think before, obviously a couple of those losses, he was a bit behind the 8 ball here, but I hope to see Fiziev a little bit more active. I know he was dealing with injuries and other things. Sorry, my cat just came in here. You want to say hi? Come here. A rare cat appearance here. He's hungry, but there you go. This is my cat, Fuji. Say what's up, Fuji. Anyways, he's excited about Rafael Fiziev and what he was able to do tonight. So big win from there. As far as like a next matchup for Fiziev, I mean, you can't really go wrong in the lightweight division. A fight, I don't think it really makes sense for the rankings or whatever, but wouldn't mind him in like a Benoit Saint Denis, like some sort of violent fight next would be awesome to see on display here. That's just a name that came to mind, but really have to sort of think in my head what would make sense for him next. Maybe the winner of Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano would be a fun one too. So big one there for Fiziev. Okay, third biggest stock riser on this card was the guy that got the highlight reel finish and just had a great fight in general, and that was Nazim Sadykhov. Now, look, he was a huge favorite going into this fight. I was expecting him to win. In fact, I was expecting him to get the finish too, if you watch my preview show. But it was just the fact that, he really took in this moment here, fighting close to home, getting a big win, and then finishing it off with a highlight reel finish here. Nazim Sadykhov has to be one of the biggest stock risers on this card, just because he put an absolute, awesome performance on. And, I always look when it comes to the stock report too about like, what are we going to remember about this card? You're going to remember this knockout, right? It was very memorable, very well done on his end. The Black Wolf getting a stock rise on this card. Okay, 2 other honorable mentions I'll mention here. One of them is actually a fighter that lost. I thought Rizvan Kuniev, we'll talk about Curtis Blaydes a little bit later, but I thought there was a case for him winning this fight. It was close. Certainly looked a lot better than I thought he would. He was an underdog here too, so losing a split decision against Curtis Blaydes when you're a plus 205 underdog, not bad at all. 33, which is really young for the weight class. Not bad for a guy that hasn't fought since August of last year. I thought this was a very good performance from Kuniev. Like I said, nearly won it. I got to give him an honorable mention just because I'm going to be keeping an eye on him in the heavyweight division. I thought he put on a pretty good performance despite the loss. And I'll give this guy an honorable mention, but he would have been one of my stock risers if he didn't have issues making weight. But that's Miktabek Orabai. Another beautiful finish here, getting the submission win over Tofik. Not that big of a favorite. He was only a minus 165, but obviously this fight was a 165-pound catch weight. From what I remember hearing, was that it was Orabai who was struggling with the weight. So had he made again 155, and got this finish, he'd absolutely be a stock riser. The performance was good. The weight miss was not, or the weight issues, I should say. He didn't miss weight, but him having the issue making the weight, that's going to be a little bit of a blemish there. So he'll get an honorable mention, but had this been a 155-pound win, probably would have put him in the top 3. Okay, biggest stock droppers here. Thumbnail did not give it away. I tricked you guys. It's Jamahal Hill. There's no question about it. Tough run for Jamahal. Ever since winning the title, he has yet to win a fight. He's 34 years old. He's had a lot of injuries. I think this was just a case of where Khalil Rountree, I think, was just the better fighter. I don't necessarily think Jamal's like done. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people saying that like, where does he go from here? I think there's winnable fights for him at light heavyweight, but he's got to go on a bit of a run here because it's hard to say, right? Like, I think right now it's pretty obvious. I mean, obviously Pereira, former champ, Yuri, a former champ, Khalil, I think he's in that mix now. I don't think these are bad losses, and it's not like Khalil finished him either. At least it went the distance, so it's a little bit better, although, that was about as dominant of a win as you're going to get. But Jamahal Hill's stock has gone down really, really big since winning the title. You hope he can get back to, I'm sure a lot of fans don't feel that way, but you hope he can turn it around a little bit, because whether you love or hate Jamahal Hill, people are talking about him. It makes it more exciting in the division when he's competing. So back to the drawing board for Jamahal Hill. As far as like a next fight, immediately my mind went to Jan Blachowicz. I don't know if that makes sense rankings wise, but Jan coming off a fight where I thought he won, but Jan's also up there in age. Like, what's he going to prove right now? I think that's a big fight you could still make right now that I think fans would be into. Jamahal Hill and Jan Blachowicz. I think that would be a fun fight next. So yeah, Jamahal Hill, tough loss there. Biggest stock dropper. Second biggest stock dropper is one of the biggest favorites on this card, Oban Elliott. Now, this is a guy that, again, has been getting a lot of notoriety, obviously coming off a good performance here, but minus 485 favorite, and you lose to a plus 360 underdog. Not a good look. I know he had a couple fights moved around. Remember, he was supposed to fight a couple weeks back. I had the visa issues, supposed to fight Ramiz. Good win over Basil Hafez, undefeated, but that loss, that's a tough one, because I think that was kind of a fight that he was supposed to win the fight if you're minus 485. So not a good look there. 27, still can turn it around, obviously not too old in the weight class, but, obviously a bit of a setback, because I think had Elliott won this fight, he was probably going to get a notable opponent next. I'm not saying a ranked opponent, but someone that at least people would recognize there. So yeah, tough step back there for Oban Elliott. And then the other one we got to mention as far as a stock dropper is Ignacio Bahamondes. Again, he was favored to beat Rafael Fiziev. I thought people were kind of overrating that win over Jalen Turner a little bit. Still 27, lots of time to get back on the winning track here. But it's pretty tough to knock out a guy in Fiziev who's really good striker, and also, like we saw tonight, mix in the takedowns as well. 3-fight win streak has snapped. Back to the drawing board. I still think this guy's got a lot of potential in the weight class. I'm excited to see what the future looks like, but this was a chance, had he won, to get into that, next level of the lightweight division and really make some noise. So yeah, tough setback there for Ignacio Bahamondes. And an honorable mention for stock droppers, I think you have to put Curtis Blaydes as a stock dropper despite him getting the win here. Again, it was close. I don't think it was a robbery, because I think that third round was pretty close. But it was, I think we expected more from Blaydes here. Now, granted, Blaydes hasn't fought since July of last year. He is getting a little bit up there in age at 34, but actually I shouldn't say that, because, Kuniev's 33. Maybe not too much in age, but, he has taken some damage here. I think we expected a bit more of a definite win here for Curtis Blaydes. So I think his stock does go down with this fight. I think there are a lot of fans who felt like Kuniev won. So I think for that reason alone, I think Blaydes' stock goes down a little bit. But again, we'll see how he looks in the next one. We'll see who they match him up with next, because outside of some of these other guys at heavyweight, it's kind of a shallow division, and I think whoever Blaydes fights next, it's probably going to be a fight he's going to be favored in, regardless of who his opponent is. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below as far as your top 3 stock risers, top 3 stock droppers. Let me know in the comments which way you're leaning on this one, and give me your reasoning as well. I gave you a lot of different reasons why I went with the choices I went for today's card. So let me know. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at Lynch on Sports. This is a stock report. I do this after every single event for the UFC. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.